We now have 3 web pages, all using the same header and footer files. We could do this because the HTML code at the top and bottom of each web page is identical. Well, the truth is, the code is mostly identical for each page. There are a couple of things that I want to be a little different from page to page. The first one is the title tag. Here in header.php, within the HTML head tag, we have a title tag that defines the title of the page. This title appears in the browser, and it also appears in results on search engines. Right now, all 3 of our pages have the same title because it is specified in our header include file. But don't worry, we still want to use these include files to handle the code that is the same, but we'll use something new to handle the differences: variables. A variable in a programming language is an entity that can hold a value. Think of it like an empty bucket that you can put something in. In your code, you can create a variable, give it a name, and then assign it a value. Your code can then reference that value by variable name instead of by value. Let me give you a couple examples of how this works. I've shown you the PHP code to display the current year a couple of times already. Let's rewrite this command to use a variable. To create a new variable in PHP, you simply write a command that assigns it a value. Variable names in PHP start with a $sign. The equal sign is used to assign a new value to a variable. So this code will create a new variable named year and assign it a value equal to the current year. Throughout the rest of our code now, we can reference the year variable whenever we want to use that value. Remember that we end each PHP command with a semicolon. I've mentioned before that additional PHP commands can be added after that. I haven't shown that to you yet, but let's do that now to echo out the value from our variable. A quick note on formatting. When you write multiple PHP commands within one code block, it's usually best to put each command on its own line. You'll typically see a block of code written like this. Variables in programming can change values as your code runs. I'll show you one more example. We'll start with a variable to hold the name of the product. If the value of a variable will be a string of text, you'll need to surround that value in quotation marks. Next, we'll add a second command to create a variable for the price of the product. If the value of a variable is a number, you do not need to surround the value in quotation marks. Next, we'll add some HTML to display the products. Later in our code, we can then change these 2 variables to hold the values corresponding to a different product. We'll use the same code to display the second shirt, but this time with different values in the variables. Variables are incredibly powerful. We'll be talking about them quite a bit more throughout the project, covering some sophisticated ways to work with them. But this brief introduction should cover what we need to make the title tag dynamic. I have a code challenge for you to make sure you understand variables so far. Then we'll dive back into our header.php file.